Thank you again for being able to present what we are doing within the United States as far as our Saf policy is concerned, and how that may also affect what may be going on in the region as well. Possibly you can use some of these ideas, and we'll certainly be talking about a lot of those across the board. Next slide, please. So what I want to do is I want to show you what the impact is globally. This is a snapshot in time of all the different aviation routes that are happening on a daily basis. It's huge. And so, as I had mentioned yesterday in one of my presentations, is that global aviation, if you look at global aviation compared to other countries looking at carbon emissions, global aviation would be number 6, which is huge. So that's what we're trying to affect, and that's why these policies are so important. Next slide, please. So one of the things that happened during the previous administration was the Sustainable Aviation Fuel Grand Challenge. And this was a grand challenge that was a tri-government agency initiative, and that was where we were using U.S. Department of Agriculture, we were using Department of Transportation and Department of Energy in working together in trying to get some things going. And so they put together a huge roadmap that had a number of different work streams in 6 key focus areas that you can see up here. Not going to go into a lot of details, but let you know that even with this new administration, things are still happening. They may be happening a little bit slower, but they're still happening across the board. And we may talk a little bit more about that throughout the panel discussion as well too. Next slide, please. So we had the blender's tax credit going on, and I grayed that out. I wanted to let you know that it was still there, or was there, but you can sort of see a comparison between that and the current 45Z clean fuels production credit. Previously, or what's happening right now, you could get up to $1.75 per gallon of sustainable aviation fuel, depending on your amount that you're actually saving in the way of carbon. 100% carbon reduction means you get a full $1.75. And so we'll talk about what the potential changes are that is currently going on with the potential for an extension across the board. Next slide, please. So there's other current policies that are in play with this fuel, clean fuel production credit. When you look at the flexibility with feedstocks, that's certainly a good thing. When you're looking at the different bills, and there are some things that have been changing that I'll get to, but the actual Senate bill introduces a 20% reduction on the value of the credit for fuels produced with outside of the U.S. feedstocks that's effective in 2026. We've also got things that are talking about the indirect land use change that you can see there. The reduction in the dollars per gallon, currently, as I mentioned, we could do $1.75. The potential is now for a maximum of $1 per gallon. There was support at one point 2 weeks ago for an extension to 2031, but as Pratima was mentioning, over the weekend the Senate version went down to 2029, and they've now passed that and sent it back to the House. So it is a situation that's changing daily, if not hourly. Right now, within the United States, it's midnight, so nothing's happening. So hopefully nothing's going to be happening, but you never know. All right, next slide, please. So there are other considerations that we have to look at within this budget reconciliation bill. There could be impact on fund allocation. Cutting Medicaid and social programs may impact if states can do SAF and environmental programs. And then, of course, hydrogen hubs that were under the previous administration's IRA, they have been defunded, unfortunately. So with state policies, there's a number of different states that have taken up the charge and have been taking up the charge. California obviously has for some people, they look at that as a gold standard for the low carbon fuel standards. But there's a lot of other states that are following behind them, and actually California was able to blaze the trail, and so now other states are able to do that as well. Washington, Oregon, and New Mexico for sure, but then there's other states that are seriously considering it, and so there's a lot of movement afoot with that. And then there's also other states' policies and incentives that you can see there as well. I won't read all of them to you, but just let you know that there is a lot of action that's happening at the state level as well too. I'll also mention, which is a very important thing to mention, is that when you are looking to sell fuel into, say, California, or you're selling it into New York or another state, you can actually stack your credits. So you may get a national credit through the Renewable Energy Credit and the Renewable Fuel Standard Program, but then you can also layer that in with a state incentive as well too. That's very important to know. It's not one or the other, it's both. Next slide, please. So let's look at where we stand right now with SAF consumption. I just looked at the EPA standard or EPA report, and so now they have listed it through May, and you can see what the actual production is, or I'm sorry, consumption is for this is for SAF. So in 2025 through May, we're right around a little bit more than 60 million gallons, and that's a pretty good number. When we know that within May, that's not even halfway through the year, and it looks like we may exceed what happened in 2024. When you look at the big jump from 2023 to 2024, what do you know based on some of the slides that Art already showed you? We had the blender's tax credit that came into play, and in 2023, 2024, those two were in place. So 2024, there was a huge amount of actual production and consumption within the United States. And that's a really good thing. And it may exceed that now in 2025. Now, remember those numbers when you're looking at right around 110, 111 million in 2024. My next slide. On my next slide, you'll see that in 2024, looking at domestic versus foreign generation, there's a huge amount that was in 2024. That's what's in green there. Well, at the end of 2024, that was when the blender's tax credit went away. Blender's tax credit was you could have foreign generated feedstocks in production being sold, and you could actually be getting a credit up to $1.75 per gallon. But now in 2025, that went away. The blender's tax credit went away on December 31st of 2024. So now in 2025, look at how much the domestic is, because now with the clean fuel production credit, you have to be producing it within the United States. So that's why the foreign amount has gone down quite considerably. But yet, you can see that right now, even through May, there's more domestic production within the United States than compared to last year. So that's a good thing if you're talking about within the United States footprint, using our feedstocks and using our production capacity. That's a very, very significant thing. Now let's look at the airlines. that was what's actually happening. The airlines have been out there, they're demanding it, and there's a number of different initiatives that you can see. And these are all the airlines within the Airlines for America organization, A4A. And so you can see where a lot of them want to be net zero carbon NZC by 2050 or 2040 in some cases as well too. Next slide, please. All right. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll have a lot of other discussion items, but that's sort of the baseline, gives you some foundation across the board. Thank you.